Twilight the Terrible by Arcade Striker DK5. Chapter 8. Applejack stood and stared at the two ponies she knew either as Jonathan and Martha Apple or Ma and Pa. They stared back at her, the silence dragging out for a minute or so, before Martha held up a foreleg and pointed at Applejack. Of course, it's a Martha. Great heroes always seem to have a M in their mothers' names. Martha Kent, Martha Wayne, Aunt May. You get the picture? Dearie, are you all right? You seem to be a bit in shock. She looked at Fluttershy. Is she all right? Applejack's muzzle quivered slightly. I can't believe you, she whispered. It's not possible. You're not here. You can't be here. Jonathan looked at Fluttershy.
Excuse me, Miss Fluttershy. Is Applejack here all right?
Any response was cut off when Applejack surged forward and wrapped her forelegs around Jonathan and Martha's neck, hugging them tightly, tears streaming down from her eyes. Martha slowly reached over and gently patted Applejack on her withers. There, it's all right, Sugar Cube. She chuckled nervously as Applejack hugged on, still crying. It's really all right. You can let go now. Trixie leaned in close to Fluttershy. What happened in your ponyville? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Fluttershy swallowed and ducked her head down, letting her wings fold out over it. Well, a few years ago, there was a bad flood in Ponyville. It hit close to Sweet Apple Acres, you see. Jonathan scratched his forehead.
Well, another lot of things happened around these parts since the Tyrant Filly took Celestia's powers.
His expression fell, and he looked at Applejack, still hugging him and Martha.
Wait a tick here. This is making more sense than I'm not liking exactly. I'll even hesitate to ask, but in your Equestria, are Martha and I, well, are we dead?
Applejack swallowed and hugged the pair tighter, bringing him as close to her as she could. Martha sucked in a breath. They looked towards the other standing there. Trixie, would you mind taking Fluttershy inside to help out in there with something? Trixie nodded. Sure thing, Martha. She placed a hoof on Fluttershy's shoulder and led her up the porch. She stopped at the door's threshold and looked back. Applejack. Both Applejacks looked at Trixie. Yeah? They both said, for looking to each other in a mixture of shock and embarrassment. Trixie rolled her eyes, looking to her, Applejack. Okay, Jacqueline, will you meet us inside later? Jacqueline paused for a moment. She tilted her head from side to side before she nodded to Trixie. Well, yes, that should work out. I'll see you inside. She went down the porch and up to Applejack. She waited for Big Mac to sidle up before asking, Applejack. She placed a hoof on one of Applejack's forelegs and gently slid it off from Jonathan's neck. Big Macintosh mirrored his sister's movements, freeing his mother from his Applejack's hug. Applejack swallowed and hung her head low. I'm so sorry about that. She chuckled nervously and pushed her head down over her eyes. I ain't got no excuse for my actions. I acted like a dang bird full towards you. Martha slowly shook her head. Well, I'm not going to say that was exactly expected. Then again, there's not a lot that's actually been expected over the past few years. She reached out and gently rubbed Applejack's cheek. No need to cry, Sugar Cube. Applejack sniffled, and her body shuddered slightly. Yeah, you're right. She cleared her throat and blew out her breath. Now, as I was saying earlier, she looked up, staring slightly at its hands at two ponies before her. We're headed to Camelot later on and restoring Celestia to her rightful place. Right now, if there's anything you need help with around here, we'll lend a hoof. Jekyll nods her eyebrow. That's an odd order of priorities. Shouldn't you deal with the Tyrant Filly first? The land is dying by inches every second you're not there. Applejack slowly turned to face her counterpart. Suckling nervously. Well, let's just say Nightmare Moon needs a bit of talking to at the moment, you know? She needs a bit of the lay of the land, so to speak. She took a 1,000-year nap, unless she did where I came from. She glanced to Big Mac before focusing on Jonathan and Martha. So, if there's anything Fluttershy and I could do to help, just ask. We both got 4 good hooves ready to kick apple trees. Or anything else, really. A sudden gust blew through, causing everyone to shiver. Jonathan and Martha looked around the porch and glanced down at the orchard extending out beyond the main house.
Looks like there's not enough for kicking,
Jonathan said, his expression downcast. Martha leaned in close to Jonathan before turning around. But she gasped as Applejack was standing right behind her, leaning in close. She stumbled back, landing on her backside. Applejack craned her neck and forward. So, no apple booking? You sure? Jacqueline trotted forward, slid herself between Applejack and Martha. Mother, sir, she said, her tone cold. Applejack swallowed and lowered her head, letting her hat slide down over her eyes. Sorry. Martha groaned slightly, as Jonathan helped her hose. It's all right. No harm, no foul there. Just a little surprise, that's all. She dusted herself off. Now, Applejack, Jonathan and I have to take a tour around the perimeter and check on the guards and patrols. She looked to the sky. There's been a report of raiders moving in from Cloudsdale. We gotta be careful. Applejack's mouth dropped open. Raiders? For Cloudsdale? What the heck? No. How the heck does that work? Chuckle regarded her. Well, it's a breakdown of the central government and many other things. A lot of ponies have struck out for themselves. Cloudsdale's one of the biggest, and they've got multiple of every raid. Applejack snorted. Oh, hayseeds! This is that time when ponies should stick together, not break apart! Big Mac tried up to Applejack.
Times what's all fair. Wholevale itself is barely able to take care of its own. There's even rumors of worse to help it elsewhere.
Applejack shook her head. That's precisely why you all gotta stick together, like caramels on an apple! She held the foreleg out and slipped it around. There's nothing like a little talking can't settle, especially with your fellow opponent. To settle down and... It's rather difficult when the Pegasus are darting about trying to steal all that's keeping you alive for themselves, Jacqueline said. She glanced at the ink blue sky. Mother, Father, we're burning with very little daylight we had left. Applejack, I don't wish to be seen as rude, but we all have a lot of things to do at the moment and very little time to accomplish them in. We appreciate your offer of assistance, but we don't have time to dilly-dally. Martha gasped. She walked right up to Jacqueline, her expression darkening with each step. Now, see here. There's no way to talk one of your kin, even if she's not one around here. See if Fluttershy offered her hooves for help, and it'd be a mite snooty and short-sighted of us to turn them down. Jacqueline leaned back slightly, barely able to meet her mother's gaze. I didn't mean like that, Mother. I do appreciate the offer. We also don't have time to waste either. We both know the truth of that. Jonathan rolled his eyes and shook his head.
Celestia slick, not this again,
he muttered, even as his wife and daughter continued to glare at each other. Applejack trotted up to his side and leaned in close. Lay, do this often? Jonathan shrugged.
It can flare up from time to time. Most often they get along, but every so often beasts just get into their body and buzz around. Not sure when it started, but it's gotten a mild bit worse over the past few weeks.
He strode forward, pushing between the two mares.
All right, settle it down, you two. Again.
Applejack shook her head, as Big Mac walked to her. But it's her ma! Why does he be arguing with her at all? Big Mac quirked an eyebrow at her.
You didn't argue with your own mother before sleep.
He suddenly nodded.
Ah, right.
He strode up to Jacqueline and nudged her away from Jonathan and Martha.
Come on now, you two. We got a lot of work to do, like you said. Inside, little lady. Inside, now!
He walked with Jacqueline past Applejack, but stopped.
Listen, you said not that our moon needs to lay on land, right? I think Jacqueline's forecast can give you a good report for her to read.
Applejack's eyes widened. She looked from Big Mac to the counterparts to her parents, then back to Big Mac. Well, I don't know. She scratched the back of her head, wrestling her hood. They were both very good with fancy mathematics, you see. Big Mac stopped in his tracks. He turned and stared at Applejack, then turned to Jacqueline before looking back to Applejack.
You sure about that?
Yes, his jaw working a bit. Applejack tried. I'll usually let all that to you. Or rather, the you from where I'm from. Her brow furrowed and eyes crossed slightly. Dang it, this is never going to be easy to keep straight. Applejack, welcome to my world. You should see my RPs. Jacko chuckled slowly. She turned to the main house, but paused to motion to Applejack. Well, there's one way to tell us apart, then. Still, you might as well come along for the forecast anyway. There's not much complicated about failing crabs. Her expression darkened at the last words. As he walked up to the house, Big Mac following, Applejack trotted over to Jonathan and Martha. Her eyes started back and forth between the two. I wish I could go with you two, but Nightmare Moon needs these info. She looked down on the ground and kicked it. I know you're not my parents back home, and I'm sorry for how I acted towards you earlier. Jonathan spoke up.
No worries. You're an apple. You're family no matter what. And when you and your friends sell things in Camelot, stop out again. Okay? You can talk a bit better, Dad.
Applejack's eyes shone. She ducked her head low and composed herself before speaking. Much obliged. She choked out. She backed up, turned, and headed into the house. Fluttershy and Trixie walked through the living room, passing by several ponies and even 2 donkeys. Fluttershy nodded to several of them and waved, but was met with cold glares, and even some hoofed dragging across the hardwood floor. She shrank down, letting her mane and hood cover her head. Trixie looked to her as they walked to the kitchen. You'll have to forgive them. Strangers not wanting to steal our food and supplies is something of a rarity, and I'm not talking about our defense coordinator. She suddenly paused. Wait. Do you know anyone named Rarity Bell near Ponyville? Fluttershy nodded. Oh, yes. Although in my Ponyville, she's a fashion designer. She rubbed her chin. Although your Rarity saddlebags were a bit brighter than everyone else's. A chuckle escaped Trixie as her horn glowed as she opened several covers. A burner on a gas stove suddenly ignited below a tea kettle as cups and saucers and tea bags floated about. She hides it as well as she can, but not being able to go into the fashion industry kills her inside every day. Her expression fell. Sometimes, late at night, she gets into the cider a bit much over here visiting Applejack. She goes on about not being able to follow her dream of opening up a clothing shop. You don't know if you want to slug her or hug her. She looked at Fluttershy. She's not the only one who's had to sell their dreams because of the endless twilight. She looked at Hoof. Pun not intended. Fluttershy nodded as he took a seat at the kitchen table. Trixie following suit and folding over a couple of cups of tea. Fluttershy slid the foreleg into the handle, took a tentative cup, then a large one. Thank you, Trixie. So, how did you end up here? If you don't mind me asking, that is. Trixie glanced at the door leading into the living room, then looked at Fluttershy and slipped down in her chair. Well, it was in Manhattan. I had run from Canterlot almost without stopping, and through a series of convoluted incidents, found myself leaving with Applejack and Aunt and Uncle Orange in their hotel. I won't elaborate on why I ran off or how I ended up here. And what is it? First I covered her mouth, but I did a little hide several snuggles. She shrank back a bit, cheeks colored a pale pink. Oh, sorry. It's just that we met you back in our Ponyville, and our version of you. Which is not to say you're not just a Trixie, but... She sighed, shook her head. Boy, this really is hard to put into words. Trixie waved her off. It's all right. I'm guessing your Trixie would elaborate. Leaves a grand tale about her exploits. Fluttershy's small nod, she slumped down. A ball of high cider floated out of the door and landed on the table. Perchance to dream of what might have been. She uncorked the bottle and took a swift belt from it, stirring slightly. This is an alternate universe, Trixie. Trixie agrees. Where's the bourbon? The two sat in silence for a minute, several other residents coming and going around them. Fluttershy suddenly slid off her chair and floated over to Trixie's side and draped a wing over it. Trixie startled slightly, but remained sitting. You know, I'd love to hear some of what happened to you.
if you're up for it.
Trixie's face grinds in concentration as Fluttershy went back into her chair. Her horn lit up, and a hazy cloud of magic formed above the pair. Several other ponies and donkeys walked in, stopping and looking up.
Watch in amazement, Fluttershy, as I regale you the tale of the last party to see the Tyrant Filly before she usurped the powers of the princess.
She suddenly hopped up at the table and thrust her forelegs up.
Behold! Would you like to be Trixie's friend?
She asked, an undercurrent of excitement in her voice. Twilight Sparkle turned her head, smiled as the exam proctors called her.
I was thinking after the exam.
Trixie bounced up and down in excitement. She was finally going to have a friend.
Oh! Darn it, Arthur, stop putting in cute filly things! You're killing the poor guy! And I thought the cake scene was deadly.
Then the sun stilled. When things had calmed down, rampant curiosity had brought Trixie into the exam room. Now Filly had turned her incandescent eyes on Trixie.
I'm sorry, but can you tell Trixie I'm going to be too busy to be her friend for a while? I want to, but I need to fix this. I ran straight out of the school for the Gifted Unicorns, and as far away from Canterlot as possible. I had no family even then, so there was nothing holding me there. Fortunately, Equestria was still Equestria, so I was able to find shelter on my journey. But by the time I reached Manhattan, things had begun to grow dim for Equestria, like disguised overhead.
Several others had gathered around Fluttershy, watching Trixie as she painted the air with ethereal images of her travels. She looked down at the crowd, gasping slightly.
You're all listening to me?
A stallion that Fluttershy recognized as Caramel spoke up.
Hey, yeah, Trixie. I never knew you had talent for this. I'll tell you. Keep on going.
The others cheered, waving their hats in the air. Trixie motioned to him and opened her mouth. But the slam of the front door, as well as Jacqueline and Big Mac marching through the kitchen, interrupted her.
I cannot believe she's mine, even some alternate version,
Jacqueline said, growling.
I don't know, I was not exactly the most sophisticated pony before Manhattan, but even so.
Big Mac rolled his eyes, but stopped as his gaze fell on Trixie, still on the table.
Trixie, you might want to be careful. I haven't gone around to fixing the wobble on one of the legs.
Jacqueline's right about right.
And what were you doing up there?
Trixie slid back down on the floor.
Telling a story,
she said, grinning slightly.
Fluttershy asked me about Canterlot, so I told her, and others as well.
She rose to her hind legs and bowed.
Thank you all for listening!
Jacqueline walked to the crowd and waved a foreleg.
As amusing as this sounds, we all have important tasks to do before the end of the day. Now, go on, everyone!
The audience grumbled slightly. They went about their previous business, leaving the kitchen. Trixie dropped back to all floors.
Well, I think it did some good.
She rubbed her chin.
I wonder if I should try to improve the images, or work on the vocals instead.
She went to Fluttershy, still sitting at the table.
What do you think? How did your Trixie handle things?
Fluttershy's head seemed to shrink behind her mane and hood.
Oh, she makes things up a bit. Really, I didn't see much of her at.
She slowly stood up and walked to Jacqueline.
How did things go with Applejack? Is she outside with your parents?
Jacqueline nickered slightly.
She should be along soon, though Celestia knows if she'll be able to follow what I say.
Big Mac grunted and gently nudged her, sending Jacqueline stumbling slightly.
I think she can follow it pretty well.
He looked at Trixie, suddenly grinning.
You'll be all right with Fluttershy a bit longer, Snoopy-Doo?
Trixie cantered over and kissed Big Mac.
What? I think we can match for the time being. Now, go on and make things don't go pear-shaped.
She stepped back, smiling as Big Mac and Jacqueline turned and walked up a staircase to the second floor. She turned, stopping as Fluttershy stared right at her.
What?
Fluttershy suddenly blinked and shook her head.
What? Oh, sorry. That just took me by surprise.
She leaned forward, wings spreading out slightly.
You and Big Macintosh? He's ours as somebody?
Trixie smiled and her eyes sparkled.
He has swept me off my hooks, the smooth talker. 3 years next month.
She went down on the floor.
Even in all this, there's a little happiness. She glanced over for a sigh. Can you really fix the sun?
Well, Trix, point of no return. You got Applejack. Here, Big Mac. Keep this up, and I think you might have all the entire main six on this show. Ow! Ow! Go! Sorry, Trixie. My apologies.
And if Trixie hears you mention one word about a certain ship with her greatest rival, Trixie swears she will beat you!
Right, I promise. Won't say a word.
Don't tell her, folks. But I will read a Twixie fic one day. Just to spite her.
Firesight's brow scrunts. She huffed up and punched the air and spin it about.
Don't worry, Trixie. We'll fix these at Canterlot.
Trixie's expression brightened.
When you come back, tell me about it. The something Trixie will spread your tail far and wide.
Applejack walked in. She stopped by the threshold and slid off her hat and put it back on. No hat rack, she muttered. She went to the pair. So, where did Big Mac and the other me go off to? Trixie pointed to the staircase.
Second door on the left is Shotgun's room. You can't miss the big orange on it.
Applejack's right eyebrow rose. Say what? Does he have no pride of being an able? She grunted before trying up the stairs, leaving Trixie a flashlight below. Trixie's mouth dropped in shock.
I hope she doesn't say anything like that upstairs.
Flashlight walked to her side.
Well, my Applejack is very proud of being an apple. Is yours not so proud?
Trixie hesitated for a moment before shrugging, her cape fluttering slightly against her body.
It's complicated. Ooh, I'll tell you about it while I do maintenance and repair out in the barn.
She walked out into the kitchen, Flashlight following as she made her way to the front door.
I can work on my seasoning too. I haven't given it any thought in years.
You know, I think this is probably the first fic I have ever read, and the only fic I've ever read, that has a Big Mac and Trixie ship. No, wait, there's one more. The Empty Room. I do applaud some creative ships once in a while. Although, personally, this Twixie fan has got a lot to work on. Applejack walked up the stairs, quickly spying the door and knocking on it. Jacqueline's muffled voice bade her to enter as he pushed it open, walking it in. She looked around the room, noting how clean and organized it was. A bed, a dresser, and a desk, all oak, dominated the room. Several pictures of younger Jacqueline, Trixie, Aunt and Uncle Orange on the dresser. Jacqueline and Big Mac were at the desk. A pair of glasses on Jacqueline's muzzle that had Applejack's thinking of rarity. Sarah, wait. She walked to Big Mac's side and looked down at several unrolled scrolls on the desk. So, what am I looking at? Jacqueline glanced up from Marian. It's our crop yields for the past year, projections for coming seasons. Our projections are pretty dire at the moment. Applejack looked up and rolled her eyes. Well, anyone could have figured that out just by looking at the trees and the land. The lack of sun and warmth's killing them. We're starving because of it. Not much more to say, is there? Jacqueline eyed her counterpart down her muzzle. That's just the bare facts, Applejack. There's a lot more to it than the lack of sun, she said, last words drawled out. Both Mayor and not Mayor Moon will need as concise and comprehensive report as possible for both long and short-term planning. Even when the sun comes back, there's going to be a lot of work ahead of us. She went to Big Mac. Make sure not to get these mixed up. Big Mac rolled his eyes. You trip over a look one time, and I'll never heard the end of it. Jacqueline shook it slightly, then turned back to Applejack, her expression darkening. I'm quite surprised you haven't learned the value of detailed reports. Do you run Sweet Apple Acres back in your ponytail? Applejack tilted her head from side to side. Well, I never did get that much fancy mathematics. Truth be told, Big Mac's more the stallion behind the scenes from where I come from. Jacqueline opened her mouth, but hesitated for a moment. She slowly shook her head. But how? Your poem failed. Mother and father.
Ma Pa.
Jacqueline blinked, but nickered slightly. Ma and Pa, as you put, have passed on. How much responsibility do you have there? Granny Smith's retired now, sweet Apple Acres, but does she still run things there? How could you have not learned the ins and outs of business practices and the need for detailed information? Those were some of the first lessons taught to me by Auntie and Uncle, and I took them to heart. Applejack snored. Oh, and Uncle Lawrence from Manhattan? You went there too? Ah, no wonder you're so highfalutin and wearing them fancy duds. You stayed there for a while after the sound cream boom, I'm guessing? Big Mac slapped a hoof against his forehead.
All day. They ain't good.
He muttered. Jacko's eyes narrowed as the temperature in the room suddenly plunged. Ow! Went there, yes. And when the sun stilled, I remained for a while. What else was I to do at the moment? Applejack shrugged.
Go be with your family, maybe?
Jacko's jaw wavered for a moment. She leaned forward, pointing both foreheads on her desk and glaring at Applejack. What precisely do you consider an aunt and uncle's or to be then? Strangers just happen to be your mother and sister-in-law? Applejack backed up as Jacqueline slid off her chair and walked to her. She held the foreleg. Now, wait just a dang for a minute here. I ain't got nothing against Auntie and Uncle Lawrence back where I came from. They took me in when I ran away from home. It's just that they were a bit too frou-frou for me. Jacqueline peeled her upper lip back, exposing her teeth. Oh, I see. That's all they did for you? All they did was take in someone who ran away from home, gave them almost no warning she was coming, let her stay with free room and board to try to teach her how to act on a problem? Well, I guess being too frou-frou is a little unpardonable sin for you. Applejack leaned back and leaned forward, butting heads with Jacqueline. Now, hold on, Missy. I didn't say nothing like that. You're right. They took me in, and for that I'm forever grateful. My Aunt Lawrence was way too different and too changed from what she was before she moved to Manhattan and married that Lawrence fellow. She wasn't no apple anymore. Jacqueline stared at Applejack. See, Wilson. She suddenly leaned back. Leaning Applejack stumbled forward before slapping her counterpart right across the muzzle. How dare you say that about her? She and Uncle Lawrence were wonderful ponies and wonderful family. They took me in, took Trixie in, and held down Celestia and knows how many others. Big Mac suddenly slid between the two, thrusting his forelegs out.
Okay, now simmer down, you hear?
Applejack slowly turned back to face Jacqueline, rubbing a hoof on the already forming bruise on her nose. She ignored Big Mac, snarled, and stomped the floor. Then why aren't you back there in the Blake City, huh? Why ain't you there instead of here? Jacqueline's eyes lost focus for a minute. Do you think I'm here in Ponyville because I want to be? Do you think Trixie and I would have let Aunt and Uncle Lawrence if we had a damn choice in the matter? Did you fail to notice how I said they were wonderful ponies? Applejack's eyes widened as the implication hit her. She backed up slightly. Lair, Diane. She went to the floor, sliding her hat off her head and placing it over her chest. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Jacqueline's body heaved slightly. Her gaze drifted down to the point in space between past Applejack and Big Mac. Things got real bad. Real bad. The Royal Guard was called in, but rioting broke out in the Broncos. It spread throughout the city. It quickly reached Aunt and Uncle's hotel. How full's the carrots?
We got room for 2 fillies, but that's it.
Take them, please! Jacqueline and Trixie looked around at everyone sprawling about. Their ears folded against their skulls because of the din. Jacqueline reached up and tugged on Lawrence's sleeve. Auntie, what's going on? Is it the bad bonus? A pair of forelegs suddenly scooped her up and deposited her into the carrot's interior. Trixie following. She squirted about a bit, fussing against the other ponies before sticking her head out the window. Auntie! Uncle! She cried out. Aunt Lawrence walked up to the carriage and gently touched Jacqueline's hoof to Trixie's. Well, make your way to Ponyville. You'll find family there. Talk to Granny Smith and Martha Apple. They'll help you out. She suddenly reached back, slid a pin off her mane, and handed it to Jacqueline. Take good care of each other. And remember, we love you. I might make an orange sherbet joke, but I just can't do it. The carriage started rolling, carried Jacqueline and Trixie off and out of Manhattan. The two called out to Aunt and Uncle Lawrence, not quite understanding what was going on. We kept going. Eventually, reaching Hooverton, Tracy and I wandered a bit before coming upon Sweet Apple Acres. I wrote Aunt Lawrence dozens of times, but the riots took their toll. I haven't gotten anything back, and I don't think I ever will. Applejack swallowed orange, her cheeks burning scarlet. Oh, and Uncle Lawrence. No, no. I'm a dang burn fool. And I'm sorry for what I said earlier. That was wrong with me. The chorus of Jacko's mouth turned upward, slowly and slightly. And I apologize for treating you like I did. I admit that you and I shared the same pain. The pain of losing two people that you looked up to and guided your formative years. Mother and father for you, Aunt and Uncle Lawrence for me. She looked up to Applejack. After you saved Celestia and after talking to Mother and Father, could you do something for when you return to your home? Applejack nodded. I don't think I got a hankering of what you want me to do. Right to Uncle Lawrence? And Jacqueline started nodded to Applejack. She placed a hoof on her heart. I'll swear to you, Jacqueline. I'll write to him. Big Mac looked from one to another, before lowering his forelegs to shine.
Great. We've got that settled.
He turned back to his desk, scooped up several scrolls into a saddle's bag, and then carried to Applejack's side.
Ready to head back to Ponyville?
Applejack looked slightly. Oh, heck. And I didn't even get to help you out, lady. Big Mac looked at Jacqueline, who was physically more relaxed than mere moments ago. Not too sure about that. The three were startled by the sun banging from the wall. Jacqueline glanced to the window and guessed at the sight of a blue Pegasus blinding against reinforced glass. Sweet Celestia Bay, if it's a Pegasus rare. Applejack arched an eyebrow. What? Oh, hey, no, that's my friend Rodeus. So he walked up to the window and placed her hose against the frame, but the window stayed shut. Applejack grunted and groaned as he tried, and failed to open the window. Land sakes! She said, looking up at the top of the sill. It's locked. I guess they have a blues rat, which cost me a silly pony. She reached up and undid the lock and heaved the window open. Rainbow Dash flew in, flapping her wings, sending her cook billowing out. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh! This is bad, and I mean bad! She suddenly stopped and looked from Applejack to Jacqueline. Right eyebrow arched. She opened her mouth, but suddenly went to hoof in the air. Nah, no time. Applejack let out a sigh. Thanks. For that, you get 2 barrels the first day next tire season. Jacqueline's eyes started back and forth. For what? Rainbow Dash popped to a foreleg in the air. All right! She cheered. Her expression turning jolly for a moment before she settled back into being serious. Okay, bad news time. There's a cloud formation heading this way, along with a lot of Pegasi armed and armored up. They're about a half hour behind me. If that! Jacqueline whinnied to stop the floor. Raiders! She gasped out. She went to Big Mac. Sound the alarm and shoot out the fireworks! Raiders? Quick! Call Little Pip! Call the Packers! Okay, the follow Equestria in the Pittsburgh Raiders gag was wrong of me. I apologize. I'll get better material next time. Big Mac nodded and turned off Gallop out the door. Applejack sucked in a breath as Jacqueline closed and locked the door. Raiders? Like you all were talking about before, Wolf? Jacqueline nodded. She turned to face Applejack, her expressing grin. It appears that their desperation for a boldness have beaten out their fear of the Tyrant Filly and the Royal Guard. I'm sorry to say, Applejack, but your companions are about to get an object lesson in how bad things have really gone over here.